That is something that has really helped management.
Come on, Patrick, can you hear us okay? Great, thanks.
You guys are
I'm still on the top row.
Yeah, for now.
I know, you guys are moving there to change that.
There's been chatter.
We're going to put some gray on.
Okay.
Oh, did you? Oh, no. I almost left a backpack in the hotel once, so those 3 in the morning, was like, oh.
Probably had my phone in there.
Right. Was that the fun festival? That gives you that.
Yeah, good. Yeah. There's a lot of pieces to my organization.
Yeah, very good. That was in your limited season for wrestlers, right?
Yeah, we major again until the holidays.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. I've done a lot of volunteers for you, more now.
Oh, I'm sure.
They need a break more.
Right. Yeah, that's right.
It's only a minute 24. That's not bad. Good afternoon and welcome to the City of Coos Bay Parks Commission work session, October 2nd. We will start with a roll call. We'll start online.
Patrick for director.
Jared Schmidt. Harv Shabothi.
Ariane Lyons.
Kirk Edward.
Jamie Faraday.
Greg Hamblett.
Christina Teixeira.
Christine Sylvester. Thank you so much. I do not see any public comment, so we'll move on down to item 4A, work session, Adopt a Park Pilot Program Finance Report and Future Events Discussion.
All right, that was a mouthful. So the Adopt a Park pilot program was first discussed at the May 18th, 2023 Parks Commission meeting. At this meeting, the Commission requested the staff present additional information to the Commission to provide guidance regarding the creation of the Adopt a Park pilot program. At the June 15th, 2023 Commission meeting, staff presented the requested information to the Commission with the help of then Commissioner Sutton. This staff report is attached, outlining the role of the Adopt a Park pilot program, the scope of work, the rollout, and the next steps. The program was formed when the Commissioners voted to approve the program and appointed 3 members to form the fact-finding committee. Originally, the pilot program was a 1-year pilot program. However, the Commission voted to extend the program to run through the end of 2025 at the December 19th, 2024 Commission meeting. So originally, they had adopted 3 projects to focus on. Attached is the final report, and is going to be presented by the Adopt a Park Fact-Finding Committee. Furthermore, there are 2 upcoming events in October that will need volunteers to promote and attend. The first event is a volunteer fair scheduled on Saturday, October 18th from 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock at the North Grand Library. The second event is downtown Coos Bay Trick or Treat, scheduled for Friday, October 31st, 2025, from 3 to 5 o'clock p.m. at the Mingus Park Community Hall building. There will be other upcoming events that the AAPPP will participate in that have participated in the past that may need volunteers to help with in the future that have been identified in the community outreach section of the final report. Staff is requesting the commission discuss the October events along with any future events they want the Adopt a Park pilot program to participate in and identify any volunteers. So with that, I'll turn it over to the Adopt a Park pilot program fact-finding folks to present their report.
I think for we should make a rule that all of our acronyms from here on out we will
Okay, over to you, Patrick. Just kidding. Carmen, Commissioner Matthews and I met with the instigator of the pilot program, Coco Sutton, 2 days ago. And we've got a lot of comments from her. She's sort of time limited with her latest effects on her health, so we made it as short as possible. I have some notes here, and I'm wondering, and I've got some things to pass on to staff that are sort of nuts and bolts things that she recommended to be done. But other than that, the main point that she brought across was there is interest in this community for the Adopt a Park program, but if there's not a system in place in which those volunteers are, as she put it, fed and watered, it's not going to work. So, and I think that's common in any volunteer effort. So with that, I'm wondering if it would be good to go over the, just to see how we have met with the purpose of this program by going over what it was proposed back in 23. Is that something you think we should do? Okay. Well, as Greg mentioned, it was discussed at May and set in motion. And the purpose of the project was to help the City of Coos Bay Public Works and Community Development Department enhance park user enjoyment by getting people involved, either groups or individuals, and do it in a way that's approved legally. And Coco did lots of work there to put that in. Was there anything in place beforehand for? There must have been something in place for volunteers, but I don't.
We did have a volunteer. We still have a volunteer application process that somebody can come in and volunteer at, say, different locations. That was outside of the Adopt a Park program, precursor to the Adopt a Park pilot program. We still have other volunteer opportunities to take advantage of. That is
So anyway, I'm just going through the three on this first document that's on your computer. Group or individual to perform a city-approved task or project, group or individual to provide cash donation for city staff-approved program or project, or group or individual to provide in-kind donations or professional services for a city-approved project. And the program management was to be such that it was 100% volunteer-supported, funded, and time. And that's when we set up the Parks Subcommittee to assist with the rollout. And the first year was approved to go on to the second year. So with that, we have what Coco has set up for us with the September 23 or 2025 report, and starting with the administrative deliverables. This is where she did a lot of work preparing for, with approval from the city staff and attorneys, all the necessary documents to get people working in the field. And that's something that is now being taken care of. Megan, does she record all in the finances? Does she record all the
Yes.
volunteers?
Megan tracks all the volunteer hours.
Mhm.
Do that for a couple reasons. A is we get credit for hours of people that volunteer for the city, and then also we do that for our workers' comp insurance
Mhm.
purposes.
Okay. Work with the City of Coos-based staff to make sure documentation is archived properly for grant and future uses, along with the rental use of the Mingus Park cabin by Scouting America, formerly Scouting BSA, is collected to avoid overbooking. That's another thing that she mentioned was not quite complete. I'm passing this on to you, as it is the MOU with Scouts. Is that correct? Does that make sense? Yep. Okay, so I just want to pass that on. That was something that was very much on her radar. And where are we? Worked with the city Coos-based staff to create information and rental forms on city website for Mingus Park Community Building. Is there a place for people to sign up for rental of the building?
Yes, sir.
Good. And then the community outreach that was established, Greg mentioned this month, and October, the two things that are happening this October, the one in North Bend and one at the Trick or Treat, right, which is something new we haven't done. I'd like to talk about that a little bit more later. But there are others that we have done, and I'm wondering if we should continue with those. The one in August, the Dog Days, the January open house at the community building. There's another February open house that typically has, the two times that we've opened it in February was for the fire department, EMS, and local shrine club, Burn Awareness Week. And there's the Mayfly Festival. The 5 city 4 is just okay.
We should combine the two and just make it an annual cabin celebration day.
Okay, so in June. Yeah, okay. And then there's the July 4th downtown Coos Bay event, which also is the same as the Firecracker Run. What else is going on that day in the park? Anything? Mm-hmm. So, those are, and then of course what Greg said, it says pending here, October 20th volunteer fair and the trick or treat. Do we want to do all of those those activities. And without Coco's input, it's going to take somebody on the committee to do that. And I'm willing to keep it going because Coco has set it up well enough that we should be able to pull it off. However, we might need more participation either from this commission or somebody in the community to make sure that gets done. And Coco's made some great partnerships with South Coast Shopper, OBAB, Park Pack, and the Soulmates, along with a few others that will help it come to fruition. So I see nods as far as continuing with these activities.
Yeah, I think the dog days is a great one. And then, of course, the partnership for with the Mayfly Festival, the July 4th, with those dovetailing into the events that are existing down there. The cabin days in June, because it is kind of a standalone event. I like the idea of combining that with some of the other things. So that, if there's a lot of people in the park, then we can get them up there as well.
So how well attended is the January open house? And the only reason I ask is because we've got the other thing going on in February. January is usually kind of inclement weather and people aren't doing much. And so if there's a strain on volunteer hours, knowing that we've got the cabin days in June as well, which is kind of an open house, maybe that's one to consider curtailing. But I'm not saying doing it. I'm probably asking more for input.
I can probably dig it out of this box back here because she has a sign-in list. But I was at both of the Januaries. I'm sure I was because I helped her out. I lived close enough that I helped her out. And those were not very well attended, especially in the first year. People didn't know about this place, or if they did, they didn't think it was still a thing. So I couldn't answer that question, and I think we could give it a go just to see. And if it doesn't turn out to be a good fit for that time of year, then we can combine it with something else. Maybe the February Burn Awareness Week or something as an open house, which is not too far away in time. I don't know if you all, I think I mentioned this, or it was reported that the last Dog Days was successful in replacing or getting donations for all of the markers. However, new markers have been put out, have been stolen, have been vandalized, and so I'm not sure how many at this point.
I forgot my cousin wants to buy a marker. So
yeah. So, bummer.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. We have those elements still
Yeah.
here, but repairs are repairs, and we'll always going to be looking for additional donations for replacement. So I think that's something that we can continue to focus on in those Dog Days of Summer. I think that's a great event. I think it brings out a pretty good amount of folks that like to participate in that. And I think if we can keep the energy up on that event, I think that'd be a real plus for the Adopt a Park pilot program or the AAA PPP.
So those are the awareness events and collaboration with other community partners. The projects that we set out to do are pretty, it's amazing what has been done. The compostable bags for the whole city now are in service and replace the stations at Toppets. There's new improvements on the community building from locks, lights, foundation, hopefully a roof to come. And I'll let Greg comment on that. Somewhere in here there is there's a list of to-dos along with this MOU from COCO that have to do with the community building, hot water heater, hinges in the kitchen, back door is not well weatherized, and most important is the roof caps have been tarped, or were tarped, but they need replacement because those are leaking, and reseal around the windows that are not windows. And also, we came up with another one. We don't know if the lead has there been a lead test in the paint that happened in the kitchen.
I'm not sure if there was ever a lead test. on
Anyway,
there.
there's a to-do list along with that. Yeah, and that's.
So is our
Yeah.
next work session on site, or
Pardon?
is our next work session on site?
It could be. I mean, this could be the Adopt a Park session, but some of these things might need to be done by somebody who's vetted to get up on the roof. He knows somebody that can do that.
I know a guy.
What else here? But the place has been cleaned out. We built 2 structures to house the scouts' materials. It was in a ramshackle thing that was behind the place. Now it's a brand new thing. We've cleaned out all but 2 rooms that they're welcome to use, but that's part of this MOU to make sure that they put things in there that are scout related, not personal items and all this sort of thing. It's all explained in her report. So I tell you, Carmen and I were basically, yes, no, that doesn't sound good, but most, 99% of what COCO has done has been COCO. She did this program. We were her support, but it's amazing how much she did. She's got the experience and the skills to do what has been done for a volunteer program. And I'm very impressed. What did I miss? Any questions at this point?
I have a couple, Jamie, and yeah, I'm really impressed with what has happened at the community building. The Adopt a Park group has really done a wonderful job, and as you said, I know COCO's been mainly involved in that. I noticed when I went through the original setting up of the Adopt a Park program that the idea was that we adopted 3 parks. Mingus Park, one from Empire and one from Eastside. Mm-hmm. And I've never seen us do anything with Seaside. Is the Adopt a Park group thinking about doing anything with an Eastside Park?
It hasn't been discussed lately, and I think what we did is we chose 3 projects that were in 2 parks rather than 3 parks.
I think part of that was
Because the cabin became such a large project that it was more consuming. But I do understand your point that we need to give love to the other side of it.
I'm looking at the thing from June 15th, 2023. Mm-hmm. And the difficulty is because we record our minutes, I'm looking at Jennifer, because we record our minutes rather than writing them down, even a summary, it's difficult to know what got approved.
Yeah.
Without going through an entire recording, which could be an hour or 2 or whatever. But that one specifically does say pilot projects in Eastside, Empire, and Mingus Park. And I do think it is important that we do something in Eastside. They kind of feel left out lots of times anyways.
Well, I think the lighting project, and then hopefully getting the funding for the lighting in the park, as we discussed at the last Parks meeting, I think that would be a great one, because they're already fundraising for it. So I think we could roll that into the Adopt a Park and officially let them fundraise for some of that lighting.
Yeah, especially because the thing that Jamie is reading for Coco's report, if you noticed on the very last page of that, she says her recommendation to us is the Parks Commission and the City Council should consider revising the resolution to expand volunteering across all city parks. But we haven't even made the first goal for Empire yet. And I don't want that to sound like it's anything disparaging, because I think the Adopt a Park program has done a lot of stuff. It comes down to how many hours do people have and how many volunteers can they find. And so that's difficult. But maybe as we think about this next year and looking for volunteers, particularly at the volunteer fair, we see if there's any people on East Side that might be interested in working on some of the parks. And I think the East Side has a neighborhood watch group too, and that might be somebody to contact and see.
The
if
two that came last time, the regular meeting, Doug and Gail,
Yes. Yes.
they were at the weekend's Coos Watersheds, all 3 events. Yeah. Pretty involved.
And then, you know, the MOU that we have with, I'm assuming it's all the scouting groups, not just the Boy Scouts? It is or not?
It would be with all the troops that are associated with the...
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know who signs that, is I guess one thing, because I notice in all the stuff that I read, it's all the scouting groups.
There's the schedule for all the scouting.
Okay. And you know, originally when this started out, the thing that came out in our package that then City Manager Bill Greil signed said that the fees for that scout cabin for those groups was waived. But it was contingent upon the fact that they do something to maintain the cabin and file a monthly report. When the resolution was finally passed by the City Council that's in there, they don't have that provision. So I don't expect them to give monthly reports and all that sort of stuff because the resolution doesn't require it. My curiosity as to the MOU is there any responsibility or ask of the scouting groups for them to do stuff at the cabin? When I think about some of the things that you guys have done about cleaning brush and the water things and the path and all that sort of stuff, it seems like a lot of those things could be good projects for scouting groups, or when you have an open house that someone from one of the scouting groups could be there to help too. So it's just a thought.
Do you want to read it?
No. I'm just asking, is there any requirement of them?
I didn't notice anything other than storage was a concern.
I think it's storage and general use to make sure that they're...
Yeah, I get that, but I'm just saying they're using the cabin. Originally, when this first started, there was a thought, we're not going to charge you for anything, but you know, you kind of have a responsibility to the cabin as well. And what can you do to help maintain the cabin and the community building now that you use? And I mean, I was a scout, you know, doing some kind of community projects lots of times as a merit badge. And it seems like maybe we haven't asked them whether or not they would be willing to do some things that we thought would be appropriate for them to do around the community building. So,
Christina, did you have a comment?
Historically, from what I've seen, it's mainly been the scouts that have upkept cabin. The city is just now stepping in.
okay.
Is there, for anybody to use the cabin, there must be conditions of use. I mean, you don't leave garbage there, you don't leave the fire going, et cetera.
Yeah, part of the rental agreement is that they have to clean the cabin to bring it back to before better condition.
And so I assume that applies to the scouts as well.
I would assume the same thing.
So,
But I think what Kurt is asking is there any improvements that the scouts could be doing to the facility or to the grounds to kind of upkeep, to include in that MOU. And I just kind of, took a quick look through the agreement requires the scouts, BSA, to abide by the following concerning storage. It doesn't talk about anything about
anything extra that could be done by them.
Well, I think part of that is that's a rider with the regular rental agreement that clarifies what they can and can't do. But I agree there is a point of if projects do come up, but I think part of why it's not included is we don't have those projects defined yet. So, and so I think it would be like each one would be a reaching out to them for, as we're moving through the projects and being like, can you partner with us on this? Can you partner on
I
this?
mean, that's fine, and I get it. The MOU could be written that the scouts would be amenable to appropriate projects in the future that may be referred to them. You don't have to list a specific project. And I don't even think it's not just the maintenance things around there. I mean, if you have an open house at the community building and the scoutmaster is there as one of the volunteers to talk to people about the historical significance of the building, that would be a good thing. That's all. So.
And wouldn't that fall underneath the Adopt a Park program?
It would.
Mechanism.
Yeah, I mean, it would be somebody as a volunteer, just as I wish there was a little bit of an understanding on their part to see if they could contribute in some way to the community building, since it's really kind of historically their facility. So that's all. And I'm assuming we still charge the same rental fees, $10 and $25.
Yeah, but my understanding is with some of their volunteer hours, they can volunteer to swap out. I didn't read the whole resolution, but resolution 9821.
Well, I mean, the scouting groups are excluded. They have a waiver of fee. But I didn't know, since this was the resolution from back in 1998, I know every year the fee schedule for the city can be updated. Sometimes we update it for things like how much does it cost to photocopy something to other stuff. And I was just curious if it had ever been updated, because this is from 1998 and it's $10 a day for nonprofits and $25 a day for profits. And hopefully if the scout cabin gets refurbished as much as we want it to be refurbished, that we might consider revising those fees sometime in the future.
Mm-hmm. Any additional comments?
Well,
That's fine. I just don't want to cut you off.
yeah, sure. No, some of the things I had written down when I read through it, I think we've already talked about. And again, you know, my comments shouldn't be taken any way other than how wonderful a job the Adopt a Park program people have done, and I know Coco's been instrumental in that. And, you know, the community building would be nowhere near where it is right now if it wasn't for that group. And so I appreciate that. I'm assuming, is there any action required on our part for the two upcoming events in October, or we can just say they go ahead? And I did have one question with that. I noticed the job fair in North Bend Public Library, the Coos Bay Public Library has job fairs too, and volunteer job fairs. And I don't know if we've ever participated in that, but it might be something to think about as well.
Last year it was in Coos Bay.
We did it in Coos Bay too. Okay, good. So do we need to approve anything on that, or are we fine?
I think it's just, we gave a blanket approval for Adopt a Park to move forward with similar or like activities, and this falls into similar and like activities. I think the question is, do we give a consensus that it would be a good idea to move forward with those, and or who's going to show up?
That is the question. Identify the volunteers that would participate in these two upcoming events in October.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because there's no point in doing them if we don't have enough volunteers.
Correct.
I'm willing to do some work to get the trick-or-treat thing to happen. I'm wondering if we could get the scouts to help out with that. I mean, it's just 2 hours, right? Yeah. Yeah. They could, you know, dress up. They like dressing up. Maybe spookify the place a little bit. Clean up and go.
I see it's too late this year, but a haunted house fundraiser in the future. So I have Jamie's. Anybody else available? I'm unfortunately not. I checked my calendar. I'm not available those 2 days. So
So we have October 31st, we have one volunteer. We have another volunteer from
I might be available on the 31st. Jared?
all right. And then October 18th, this Saturday, it's the North Bend Library Volunteer Fair. So does the city have a booth, or is it just?
I don't think the city has a booth. I think the only booth that's registered as of now is the Adopt a Park pilot program,
Okay.
is what I saw online.
Okay. So we have 17 days to find somebody to sit at that booth.
Okay.
Or more than one somebody.
Yeah.
You know, if some, you know, it's what, 3 hours. If somebody split it up, you know, if it's a couple people, it's an hour and a half. If it's 3 people, it's only an hour, and that's not bad. So, I mean, I'm willing to sit. I don't necessarily want to sit there for 3 hours, but if someone else wants to share some of the
I had to check football schedule before I return. Or nephew football schedule. So
Which football schedule?
nephew.
Oh, okay.
I will be at the volunteer fair if nobody else offers.
Okay.
You will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
Well,
great.
we could split it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, let's
Okay.
do that.
Okay. Perfect.
I'll have to get together and figure out who's going to do what when. And someone's going to have to school me on the volunteer application process.
Well, then what costume are you wearing, Jamie, so we can coordinate?
All right. Do we have any other commissioner questions or comments about the Adopt a Park pilot program that Jamie submitted and presented?
I have a question, just kind of for the long-term outlook. Once the specific projects are completed, will we kind of, as a group, think about what should come next? Because I know that the lighting, I don't know if that's made its way into any documents just yet, but once some of these things are done, how do we, what's the process for picking new projects?
I presume that comes under the committee's purview. You, me, and Carmen. And then we bring it to the parks?
So what we've done for the last 3 is the committee finds one, or one is presented to them, and then you bring it to the Parks Commission, and then we vote on it.
Correct.
What is the status of the community building as far as finishing up with repairs?
So the foundation stabilization was done. Looking at this list of items here, I think some of those we are aware of, and we are actively working on, doing some of the repairs. The roof, as I understand it, is you're waiting upon funding for to hire an architect to develop what it's going to take to rehabilitate that roof. And so we're just waiting for funding for that. And so that's the status of where we're at on the roof.
And I'm actively looking for funding for the roof.
And looking for grants. And so that's kind of where the roof is at right now. And so once we get funding, then we can make those repairs. Once we get funding for design, we can make that design, then we got to look for funding for repairs. Right now, we don't have an idea of what that cost is going to be, nor do we have an idea of what the cost for the upgrade that roof to, bring it into to the degree that the historic standards and what has been presented to staff in the past.
Yeah, with the extra layer of fire protection and all that fun stuff.
Correct.
Any additional commissioner questions, comments? It's an amazing program. It's gotten a lot done. do you say?
Yes, I agree. And thanks to Coco, and I hope she gets better. She could still be a part of this effort. She still is a member of the community and does a lot. She's still sending out emails. She has like 20 minutes at a time on the computer before she starts getting nauseous. So I'm hoping that she's going to persevere and get better. It must have been stressful for her.
Yes, yes.
So get better, Coco.
Thank you. Greg, do you need any other additional resolutions for us?
Not this time.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Do you have any, I see extra paper in front of us. Do you have any for closing comments? Do you want to start off?
I get to start closing
You
comments
get to
tonight?
start closing
Nice.
comments tonight.
All right.
So nobody steals your thunder.
Okay, thank you. Closing comments for me. In front of you is a revised map for the trail, marker trail that we talked about at the last Parks Commission meeting. When I drew out the map in my haste, I missed a section. This is the actual 3/4 of a mile that I talked about, and so I just wanted to get that revised, the actual drawing. This is what I'm going to talk with these folks on the 13th. I'm meeting with them. This is going to be the trail that I present. And so I just wanted to get that in front of you guys. So that correction has been made. At the last Parks Commission meeting, Commissioner Kurt asked about, we mentioned that the ODOT was going to be putting in an enhanced crossing at Market and 101 northbound. And Kurt requested additional information as to why a traffic signal wasn't considered. We met with ODOT, I think that following week, and I asked them to provide some additional information as to why that signal wasn't considered. So basically, it just wasn't warranted, and the warrants are captured in the manual for uniform transportation control devices. Sorry, another 5-letter, the MUTCD.
We'll get the whole alphabet.
In
by the
there,
end.
there's a list of warrants, and so this fell under the first two. The first 2 warrants are your typical warrants, and then the other 7 warrants, there's 9 warrants total, the other 7 warrants are special considerations. This didn't fall under any of the special considerations. So the first 2 are traffic volume related. And so when they did the traffic counts, the lesser of the 2 travel ways, which is going to be the Market crossing, traffic coming from Market in either direction, the traffic counts just did not warrant a traffic signal. So I asked them to give me a lay explanation, and at the intersection of US 101 at Market Avenue, there's not enough side street traffic for a signal to be warranted according to warrants 1 or 2 that are based on the MUTCD. And I brought the 9 warrants. If anybody would like to have that, I can give that to them. If not, I can just put it away and hang on to that, either one. But that's the reason why. And so we are getting an enhanced crosswalk at that intersection, but the the intersection was looked at for a traffic signal. It just was not warranted because the cross traffic volume was not there. And so that was the reason why the signal was not installed.
Thank you for talking to him and asking him. I mean, I kind of figured that was going to be the answer anyways, but I appreciate the effort.
Yeah, no problem.
Thank you, Greg. Anything else?
Okay. And thank you very much.
Christine?
So I sent out an invite. An application was submitted to the Reeser Family Foundation for $55,000 to support the Mingus Park restroom project. They are going to come do a site visit on October 15th at 1 p.m. You guys are all invited. It is not required. We also got news that the TGM Walk Bike Connect grant application has been.
Thank you. Okay. And Christine, thank you for being you and being on top of all this stuff. So. Okay. Jamie, any closing comments?
Yes, I will be there on the 15th. Anybody else? Please come. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be there too. I think I sent something in that said I would be there on the 15th too. My understanding is we meet in the park, but then there may be some discussion afterwards as well. Is that right? I was just going to suggest that any kind of data, whether it's from Adopt the Parks or just in general, of activities that go on in Mingus Park, list of events that we have during the year. I know we don't keep track of the number of people that go there, but, any kind of data that we might have available to us to be able to present to them to show them how busy that park is and how desperately it needs good restroom facilities.
I did pull the special events applications, and on there it asks how many people they expect to attend, so I did include those numbers.
Yeah, if you could share that with those of us that know we're going to show up, if we're sitting around a table with them, and we could take turns saying, well, yeah, we have this event, that kind of thing, too. And I think all the stuff with Adopt a Park and all the effort that's gone into the cabin and stuff up there to increase usage in the park is another good thing for to talk to them about. I drive down 10th all the time. Great progress on the foundation and everything going on for the bathrooms. You guys have done good work. I actually saw somebody walking around the trail in the rewilding thing the other day because they had a nice trail to walk on. So once it gets planted, I'm sure they will be doing even more stuff there. At one of our meetings, maybe even just one of our work sessions, we had the quote-unquote bike subcommittee, and I kind of don't know what's happened to them. I don't think we had much enthusiasm for it, but maybe we can just talk about it and see what that is and what anything we want to do as far as going forward with that. And particularly if we get grants for pedestrian and bike stuff to modify our transportation plan, it would be good to have them active. And then the last thing is I rely upon the city's website for lots of stuff because it's usually pretty good. I think we had a meeting in September the 18th, but it's not posted under the agenda for there. In fact, the last meeting that's posted for us is in August. So I know I just noticed it. That's all. I didn't know if there was a problem with the website or not. So again, staff, thanks for everything that you do. I appreciate you a lot. So.
It'll be up soon. I was on vacation. It'll be posted soon.
Thank you. Harv?
Just real quickly, thanks again to the city staff for all the help on the Fun Festival. There was just an awful lot of departments that really stepped up, and we needed the help in many, many ways. But from the police to the fire, on and on and on, Craig, just an awful lot of folks. We needed the help, and you folks did step up for us, so thanks on that. And on the trick-or-treat, we basically get the word out on that. If this is, if we're going to do the event again up in the park, just let me know. Essentially, there is no application process other than letting me know, and I'll make sure you get on the list and promotions.
Yeah, Jay.
Tons of kudos to the Adopt a Parks program. This is great. Somebody who frequents Mingus a lot, I really appreciate it. So thank you for all you're doing. And I would like to do a very shameless plug. In October 25th, the Coos Art Museum is hosting a show called Native Perspective, Roots and Visions Celebrating Tribal Arts. I've been helping coordinate that with the Confederated Tribes of the Coos, Lormquant, Sayusla, the Confederated Tribes of Siletz Indians, and of course the Coquille Indian tribe. We have about 30 artists with from all three tribes with works that'll be on display from October 25th until the end of January. So from glass blowing to traditional weaving, it'll be, and there's a pop-up shop. So, you know, Christmas gifts, just saying. So anyways, shameless plug, just want to get that out there.
Thank you, Jared. Patrick?
No comments.
Thank you. I want to reiterate thank you to city staff for always being amazing. I think the festivals we've had this summer have been great. We're seeing a lot more community members coming out to festivals, coming out to our parks, using the awesome, amazing things that our city provides. And I know that takes a lot of work with staff, so I appreciate that as well. And of course, big shout out to Coco for everything that she does and continues to do and power through. So we appreciate that. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll look forward to Parks Commission in 2 weeks.